You ever have one of those days where motivation is nowhere to be found, but your to-do list seems endless? Well, here are 5 habits I use every single day that keep me productive even when the motivation isn't there. No hype, just systems that actually work. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick Russell, and this is Let's Chat Tech with Nick. Now, believe me, I'm not perfect, and I'm not 100% motivated every single day. Nobody is. We're human. Now, trust me, I'd rather be sitting back reading a book, going out for a nice walk, or grabbing a pint with some friends. But there's work to get done. The to-do list just doesn't seem to end some days, and we have to work through that lack of motivation. And in this video, I want to talk about 5 habits I use every single day that keep me productive even when the motivation isn't there. So let's talk about the first habit I use. Now, the first habit is having a second brain. Now, when you think about all of the stuff that you intake daily, whether it be from a podcast, a TV show, reading something online, we are bombarded by information. And our brain isn't made to store all of that information. So we have to get that out, store it somewhere else so we can take in new information. And that's where a second brain comes in. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about how I use my second brain and how that's laid out, but I want to talk about just having a second brain and the benefits of that. Now, I use Notion for my second brain, but you could use just about any other app out there, as long as you have a way to capture the information, write it down, and have it easily accessible whenever you need it. And that's exactly what a second brain is. So the first step is actually taking in that information, quickly capturing thoughts, ideas, websites, emails, videos, tasks, whatever the case may be. So once you take that information in, you want to store that into your second brain so you can organize it into however you like your life in your second brain organized. And it's no secret, I love the para method to organize all my information. And using Notion or whatever app you have, you can easily search that information and be able to use it when you need it. The second part of this is also having a good to-do list system. For me, that's Todoist, but you can use whatever app, whatever system you have. Now, with Todoist, I can also quickly capture information and tasks that I need to have. So if I have to go get milk and I have that thought at the beginning of the day, if I don't write that down, I may forget that by the end of the day. So quickly capturing that to-do item, that task, and putting it in my Todoist, that's already there, and I know I'll have to get it later when I check. So the first habit is using a second brain so you can get rid of the information you don't need at the moment and be able to take in new information. So let's talk about habit number 2. Now, habit number 2 is listening to music. More so listening to music that does not have lyrics. And studies have shown that you are a lot more productive if you have an inspirational instrumental music playing in the background as opposed to listening to something like Shinedown or Pink Floyd or Zeppelin or whatever kind of music you're into. Because as you're listening to music with lyrics, that'll distract you more from what you're doing. So for me personally, I have a set of headphones. I throw those on during the day, and I use playlists like a soundtrack from all the Avengers movies, the X-Men movies, Star Wars, Star Trek, and a few other movie franchises where I take the soundtrack, all the instrumental music from that, and listen to it. And not only does that give you a little motivation, because subconsciously you're thinking about those moments in the movies, and especially when you get to the big scenes where the heroes are doing well, that gives you that little boost of energy and kind of gamifies your work as you're listening to the music. So listening to music more so instrumental music, a soundtrack from a movie, is a great way to keep you motivated while you're working at the desk instead of sitting in silence or listening to something with lyrics. So that's habit number 2. Let's talk about habit number 3. Habit number 3 is the Pomodoro Technique. And this is something I use every single day, and I absolutely love it. Now, if you're struggling to get things done, one of the best ways to actually get started is setting a timer and just going. Now, with the Pomodoro Technique, you set a timer for 25 minutes and eliminate all distractions. You have that 25-minute timer and you focus on that task that you have set to do in that specific time. Once that timer goes off, stop. Take a break for 5 minutes, get up, stretch, get a glass of water, whatever the case may be, and then go back to another 25-minute stretch of deep work and focus on finishing the first task or starting another task. And then take another 5-minute break. And then after a couple times of doing these 25-minute blocks, take a full 30-minute break. And that could be actually getting outside, going for a quick walk around the block, using the restroom, getting some more water, grabbing a quick bite of something to eat, and then going back into another segment, another 25-minute segment to work. And once you get used to doing that way, you can lengthen that. I wouldn't go more than an hour of deep work for me personally, but usually I find myself about an hour, maybe an hour and a half at most of deep work, and then I will take a 5 to 10 minute break. Same concept of the Pomodoro Technique, but just a tad longer segments. And after 2 of those long segments, I will go get up, stretch a little bit, get some more water, and then take a little walk, whatever the case may be. But once you get started with that timer, you're focused in on getting that work done. And especially if you shut off all the notifications to all your social medias and email, it makes your day go by significantly faster. And you'd be surprised of how much work you actually get done. Now, another little tidbit to that is your email. We all get a ton of email throughout the day, but one of the things I found that works most is before you set your first timer, check your email in the morning. Once that's done, don't check your email again until the end of the day. If you really need to, maybe a quick look at your email around lunchtime, but then at the end of the day, you can check the email and follow up with what needs to get followed up on. But leave that to the beginning and the end so you can focus on your 25 to an hour time block segments. And believe me, you'll be surprised at how much work you actually get done. So that's the third habit. Now let's talk about the fourth habit. The fourth habit is being active, actually getting up and moving your body. And it took me a long time to realize the benefits of this. Before I would just get up, get my coffee, get to the desk, and get going. But I found myself getting drained significantly faster. The more active I got, the more energy I had, and the more motivated I was because of that. So now I have a routine where I'm active 6 days of the week. Now on Mondays, on Wednesdays, and on Saturdays, I get in a 5K run, and then the route I take, I run for 5K, and then the rest of that, about a 3K coming back, is walking back home. So I will get a total of 8 kilometers in, 5 of which are running. And then on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, and Fridays, I get 8 kilometers of walking in every day. And then in the evenings now, I have a 30-minute exercise routine, which includes push-ups, sit-ups, using the medicine ball, and a few other exercises that help me stretch, help me with my flexing a little bit, as well as a little bit of strengthening. And eventually I'm going to get some dumbbells and things like that for home so I could focus a little bit more on building muscle. But just getting out, enjoying the fresh air, walking or running, as well as some stretching and home exercises in the evening, really gets my body moving and I've noticed a massive increase in productivity and being a little more motivated, especially on the days that I'm out getting my walks in. So definitely try to get active and use apps like the Samsung Health app or whatever Apple has, and the Google Health app, I believe, or Google Fit. Use those to motivate you. And like Fitbit or the Samsung Health app, there are little challenges you can do to kind of self-motivate you to hit certain goals as you're walking, running, whatever the case may be. But be active. Believe me, it'll change how productive you actually are. So those are 4 habits now. Let's talk about the last and 5th habit that helps me get more done in a lot less time. Now, the last habit is planning. Now, you don't have to go completely in depth like I do, but planning out your week or even just planning out your day, taking the 10 minutes in the morning to plan out your day is going to change how you get things done. And believe me, writing things down and having it front and center at top of mind will help you be a lot more productive. Now, for me on Sundays, I like to do a weekly review, and then I like to plan out my week. So that will help me time block the rest of my week. And I use that as a rough outline for what I need to do the upcoming week. And then every single morning, what I do is I go through a couple of questions like, what are my intentions for the day? Write down an affirmation and what I'm grateful for. That sets me up into a positive mindset for the day. And then I will write down the most important tasks that I need to get done. And then I break that down into the top 3 tasks. The top 3 frogs, like Eat the Frog from Brian Tracy. But the hardest, biggest task will be first. The next hardest, biggest task second, and then third. And then as I complete those, I'll look at my to-do list again and take the next grouping of tasks, break that down into the top 3 again, and then do that throughout the day until I'm done. And then at the end of the day, I talk about the 3 wins I've had, where I was challenged, where I didn't meet my goals, and then how I can get better tomorrow. So planning out your week and planning out your day will have a major impact on your motivation as well as your productivity. So there you have it. Those are the top 5 habits that keep me motivated even on days that I'm not quite motivated to get work done. Now, in that 5th habit, I talked about planning and doing a weekly review and my daily planning. Now, that's something I have built out in Notion. Now, in Notion, I've built out a complete planning hub. And what that is I have my daily planning templates. I have my weekly review and weekly planning templates, as well as a monthly, a quarterly, and a yearly planning and goal setting template, all in one simple and easy to use Notion template. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll put a link in the description below. Check it out, and hopefully it helps you be a lot more productive like it's helped me be productive. And that's all I have for you this week. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, share, comment, and all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you on the next video.